Adubuahin. Or no, your friend culture of silence. Or no, to me breaky that time will be to me Kasa, will be a straw Rollins. Adubuahin. And now Kukudro. And standing up to Rollins. Till 1992. That the Adubuahin koi. Or no crown or Kokuma Yano. Or Koya, the more answer Nino. Yan Frank Kobium. Obiam, best of the pressure wa. Odru wa ozio. President Kufuor Komienu, Akufo-Addo Komiansa. Adubuahin wako say. Wako say. Me Islamu ene biaba ya niefi. Mama ma yan to and somewhere enya no kra engu ya fam. Afa me Islamu abakosem. Nientia President Kufuor ya didn't call second term ni say. The first time or the only 4 months, between 3 to 4 months, and what the year campaign. Now votes are President Kufuor Nyaya within that 4 months, no, and yes and no. The best are the nako. And unti any other President Kufuor as I call second term, oko winnie ye. There is a reason. 4 months our year campaign, the performance, and unti ni aside President Kufuor eko. ABM, oh, Anna Akufo-Addo comprensa. Akufo-Addo call first one on your 49.3%. When Timian cross 50 nunti, and I saw call second round, and also a pay a time. And I decided here, Emma, Professor Mills, and 23,000 votes. Anybody a president. Into a beer person or cultural say, Yansa ma assume sinko biemwa on starting kabakosam and will be NTA. Akufo-Addo SR court 2012 no. What we need and when we are a court, Mamuti decision and was as audio. Meaning some we need, but some see Yamina may respect court no into young court. Yashua Akufo-Addo performance the first time, second time. And I didn't call the third time. And it's also a big performance. Now to me, Lusu over 2 million. Now I saw that I say, Mufani Panenko. Now, my ID, but I'm ready to one. No credit, you ever come, Mate? No credit. No cranu dear, Yabeka Momati. Samu Pepawa, Ghana for say, Mudikane Japan bar, Yabetua Mamo. Musa Kwakem for 9th young or tribute. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that? Are you ready for that?
Statistics are like bikinis. What you see is suggestive, but what they conceal is vital. The reason why he cited percentages is to create a misleading impression that there has been an over-the-top increase in the price of fuel. But Mr. Speaker, the total cumulative effect of this increase will be a net reduction because other factors contributed to by the economic prudence of this government have resulted in a consistent downward trend in the price of fuel. Those are the facts that he sought to conceal by stating those misleading statistics. Mr. Speaker, it is all well and good. It is all well and good for them to play politics and purport to be outraged. A party that introduced more than 30 different taxes within a space of 30 years cannot possibly be outraged over a minimal increase in an existing tax. They cannot reprobate and approbate. They cannot love taxes and hate taxes at the same time. They cannot hate pork and eat pork soup. Mr. Speaker, if they were genuinely concerned about the Ghanaian people, they would not have slapped the multiplicity of taxes they did on them when they were in power. We are compelled to take this measure, and we do so at a time when we have demonstrated capacity to reduce the burden of the Ghanaian people. And we commit to using the resources that accrue from this increase in the levy in a manner that sustainably addresses the biggest risk to the Ghanaian economy, which is the debt overhang in the power sector. I urge my colleagues to move away from the grandstanding, to move away from the politicking, to move away from the pretense, and join us in this effort to resolve one of our biggest problems, because it will turn out that in the long run, we will permanently overcome what has become a cyclical problem.
Having inherited almost 5,000 megawatts of generation capacity, the $1 billion Tuabo gas processing plant, the ENI Sankofa gas field, the Energy Sector Levies Act, and many more. This MPP government owes in excess of $1.5 billion to independent power producers.
This hypocrisy, this unethical behavior will not be allowed to pass. In an attempt to normalize the hypocrisy and betrayal of trust, the NDC has recruited its mouthpieces to attempt to deceive Ghanaians that it is only a one Ghana cedi sacrifice and all must go along. And so-called neutral who does the NDC's bidding in this camp should be ashamed of himself or herself. You are part of the program. The NDC hypocrisy has now been exposed by the fact that in their bid to justify what they knew they will do, they have now come up with confusing explanations as to why this levy is needed and inevitable. His Excellency President Mahama on May 13, 2025, at African CEO Summit in Abidjan, this is what he said, and I quote, "We are using the proceeds from the energy sector levy to pay down the arrears."
The minority believes strongly that if this government is minded to pay off the energy sector debt, because you recall that part of their justification is that they want to pay off the energy sector debt. In fact, the president said he'll pay it off by December 2026. And we have just done the maths for you, that if you look at what is going to accrue in the 2 years, it cannot pay off the energy sector debt. But let us assume that they are being honest with that they want to pay off the energy sector debt. We think that what the government should do is to conclude the renegotiations of the of the power purchase agreements which were started by the previous administration, and to pass on two things, the fuel and capacity charges into the PPAs. Government should include these in the tariff calculations to eliminate the need for off-book debts that are caused by the take-or-pay clauses in the energy sector contracts that were signed between 2013 and 2016. And you will recall that that is one of the major challenges that has created the stock of energy sector debt. The capacity charges and the take-or-pay charges, which could not be included in the tariffs. And so every now and then, a bill is sent to the finance ministry to pay, and that bill is accumulating. If the government is really intended to pay, one of the things it should do is to complete the renegotiation, move the fuel purchases and the excess capacity charges into the PPAs, so that when people consume a certain realistic amount, then they will pay. Number two.
Government is broke, government is broke. The people are spending billions to go inside the government that is broke. Have you ever seen a minister who resigned because government is broke before? Government has no money. Have you ever seen a governor who said, ladies and gentlemen, when I was elected, I thought the government had money. Now I discover government has no money, I resign. Have you ever seen it? Government has no money, but they are bringing money out at election time. Where is that money coming from? So they are lying. What is happening is that there are two types of wicked people in government. Type 1, they eat current money. Any money they find in government, they will eat it. They are wicked about that one. There is type 2. Type 2, they eat current money and future money. They will say, Oh, my term will end next year. When I leave, how will I eat money? Let me borrow money now and borrow money of the future and eat it now.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Ghana on the Metro Television. Today is the 10th of June, 2025, and it's a Tuesday. This is the day the Lord has made, and in it, we are indeed very glad. My name is Aldo Moro. It's always a pleasure coming your way once again. We'll go straight ahead and look at the newspapers and what they're reporting on the front pages as we have it today. Daily Graphic is what I will start with. And Daily Graphic this morning is reporting that 2025 BCE begins tomorrow. Over 600,000 candidates set to write. There's one city fuel levy implementation, Monday. Fidelity Bank, Ghana posts robust performance for 2024. Ghana-US deepening trade cooperation. Minister holds discussions in Washington. The Ghanaian Times. Hospitals grind to a halt as nurses' midwives strike escalates. District directors of education to get more powers to improve service delivery at the grassroots. President. GHS, CKT, UTAS, GCPS sign MOU to promote professional development. GLIS PTA expresses concern over growing criminal activities around school. Daily Guide. Nurses suspend all services nationwide. Withdraw Dumsor levy minority to government. Ghana-Lebanon Islamic School battles squatters over squalor. Journalist Beta remanded. Edubuahene demands NS account details. The Insight. TDC ushers in new era in real estate with 24-hour client-centered services. Council of State pledges oversight on one city fuel levy to address energy crisis. Ukraine seeks to kill free speech in Ghana amid ongoing conflict with Russia. Pelangio Mining faces accusation of leasing concessions to Galamsey operators in Adansia Sokwa as concerns over environmental degradation, loss of government revenue mount. Stay off dairy farm lands. Agbawe family of Oyarifa warns Jato cohorts. Anti-Galamsey task force strikes hard, burns down illegal mining camp. 12 excavators seized in Offin Shelter Belt Reserve. Daily Post. Oferate's family petitions Interpol to remove red notice. Lodina Foundation holds third quarterly health screening for Assemblies of God retirees. How MPP in power dragged a partially blind, partially deaf man with kidney problems and sitting in a wheelchair to court for 2 years. Felix Kwachofosu recounts the painful experience of Dr. Animana at the hands of wicked Attorney General Godfrey Dame. The Catholic Standard. Turn to God for meaning in life. Pope. Fighting corruption will solve over 90% of Ghana's problems. NDPC. Religious superiors in Africa call for synodality. Hope. It is illegal mining is a syndicated organized crime. And as usual, there's an editorial. Can we ever get rid of the horrors of begging street children? The Daily Searchlight. Distress at Komfo Anokye Hospital. Nurses strike shuts down OPD. And then there's UN Ocean Conference opens with calls for urgent action to safeguard the health of the ocean. Set up an independent Natural Resources Commission is Anan Ankoma. And as ACTCOMSS marks 20-year milestone poised for higher strides. All set for 2025 BECE, more than 600,000 to sit. That's a GES, that's a Ghana Education Service. The New Republic. Minister locks down Wale Binduri as guns blaze again amidst renewed conflict. There's an ex-NPA board member in OSP's trouble. There's Magdan's 10 million cedis lawsuit against editor, a hoax. Cannibalism in MPP deepens as party chairman flees to bush over Baumia plot. Government launches all-out war on corruption. And the Business and Financial Times, BNFT, What is agentic AI and how will it change fintech? The Maxwell Investment Group and Africa School of Entrepreneurship sign MOU. Zanzibar president expresses interest in Zoomlion's proven track record. The sustained disinflation with targeted food utility interventions, GSS, to government. T-bill yields fall to 52-week low, but refinancing concerns emerge amid auction shortfall. New fisheries law to boost sector, lift EU restrictions. Fidelity Bank reports strong profitability and business growth. So that's it for the front pages of the newspapers that we received this morning. Please stay with us. This is Good Morning Ghana. We'll be right back.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calkit Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky chicky whiter, chicky chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calkits. Happy smile.
Unemu bua unkoisha Dr. Ban uye denwa.
Oh, Mr. Yamfani come and me buru wa.
Mami do buru. Ni atele be ko bra. Mumi Yamfani ko Dr. Ban ho.
Dr. Ban o ya de.
Bra, se banu no mpemu adwuma sasabro slow Dr. Ban oye.
Hey, give me corner meka. Oh, no mpemu nim di ono na ye expect nya zanfo no. O akra any Kumasi no mpemu expect yen kan kire.
I'm a brand manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
Yes, next. Hey, Nadia Benson,
Me didn't tum. Mr. Friend Calico, just call me cockroach. Now, Mr. Friend me once now. Hey, that's you. Improve car. Yeah. Captain Mosquito, double the accent. Me did it, Sasso spray. Mr. Friend is Sasso quell. Yeah, go to my Sasso.
Tum Preco.
Buy affordable service plots and lands from Estate Masters. Currently selling our Nest Cottage, located at the newly proposed Airport City, with a starting price of 25,000 Ghana cedis. We also have Palm Hills, located at Panfukro in the Gomwa East District, also with a starting price of 15,000 Ghana cedis. Available also is Coastal Park in Lakpleku, which is a 15-minute drive from the Ningo Senior High School, having a starting price of 55,000 Ghana cedis. You will receive a free site plan with indenture once you successfully purchase a land from us. For any enquiries, contact the numbers provided. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
Smart, smooth, interactive, and a built-in Android active panel. Made for modern work and home. For corporate clients and university students, enjoy top-quality 10th generation Toshiba laptops built for performance, power, clarity, and speed, all in one desktop. At Mycom JA Computers, get a laptop for as low as 1,000 Ghana cedis. All products are imported from the USA with a 1-year warranty. Visit Mycom JA Computers today and elevate your tech.
You're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. So we're also live on 94.1 FM on your radio dial, just in case you want to monitor the show, you want to leave your home, but at the same time, you want to keenly monitor the conversation that takes place here. You're free to do just that on 94.1. It's very, very clear. Joining us this morning for, as usual, what promises to be a very, very interesting and a great conversation on Good Morning Ghana is a very good friend of mine, Hamza Suhini. Hamza Suhini is a lawyer, a private legal practitioner, as some will say, and also a member of the NDC's communications team. Hamza, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, bro.
On Good Morning Ghana.
Good morning to your production team as well. Well, the pleasure is mine as well. Yeah. And good morning to our cherished viewers out there.
Belated Eid Mubarak.
Eid Mubarak to you too, and of course all our Muslim brothers and sisters out there. And most importantly, to the National Chief Imam, and all respected and revered imams of the Republic of Ghana. And to my own colleagues, I hope that we take the lessons from the Eid seriously and try to reflect that in our daily activities, especially as Muslims and as believers when it comes to the gospel according to his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is my hope and prayer that from now on we'll begin to manifest the teachings of Islam, most importantly that of love, peace and understanding, especially for those of us from the northern sector of our country, because you know that if you are looking for Muslims, you can conveniently find them in the northern regions, and sometimes it can be troubling. When you are dealing with a religion that preaches peace, yet still in many parts of the north, or in some selected parts of the north, for want of a better word, especially the Boku area, we are still engulfed in conflicts. It simply means that we must take the teachings more seriously. We must begin to unleash our religious personnel to begin to hammer more on the need for peace and the teachings of our religion especially, so that at least, if for nothing at all, maybe being committed to our religious teachings would begin to water down the effect of these conflicts and grant the government and the traditional authority the needed understanding to be able to deal with many of these conflicts that appears to be affecting development in many parts of our country. So that is my hope. It should not be business as usual. We should not allow modernity to water down the effect of our faith, especially in areas that we can take advantage of it to foster peace and unity. And what more do we require in this country if not for things like peace and, most importantly, maybe our economic development as well, which appears to be on the right trajectory. So my call this morning is for our brothers and sisters, whether they are in the north or the southern sector, wherever it is that we are dealing with conflicts, I think that the time has come for us to embrace the teachings of Islam and its reverence for peace, and do well to manifest same in our daily activities for the sake of our religion and for the sake of the hereafter, and most importantly, for the stability of our nation.
Well, how did you celebrate it, though? Were you in Accra or you were in Tamale?
No. I was definitely in Tamale. There was the need for me to go back and engage with family and spend some quality time with them. I think I left Accra on Thursday, got to Tamale that same day. And I can say that I had a very fruitful engagement with my family members. I was there with my big brother. And so we spent quality time with family even before the Friday Eid and also Saturday. You know, Tamale, majority of our people celebrated the Eid on Saturday. Yes. So, but it was lovely. We also found time to engage party people. Unfortunately, when I was up there, many of my friends complained that they couldn't reach me, especially those in the southern sector. And for that matter, they did not have access to Salamit. But the truth is that immediately I landed in Tamale, I really didn't have time even for myself. So it was meetings upon meetings. You had party people trying to have an engagement with you. My house was always full. So from Thursday to, I think, somewhere Sunday, was quite hectic and busy.
Wow.
Yes, hectic and busy. And I also got the opportunity to interact with so many of my friends that I have not been able to engage, I think, since I left TATCO, Tamale Training College. I saw many of them for the first time. And that's the beauty of some of these occasions. And so we had quality time together. We were able to engage. We spoke extensively. We spoke politics to religion, to our cultural settings. Look, it was beautiful, Moro. And where else can you get that if not home?
Yeah.
And so that is the more reason why on festive occasions, we all must make it a point to go back to our roots, try to engage and interact with family and friends, at least to broaden our perspectives on life. You see, about life, there are certain things that you take for granted. For a long time, there's a temptation for you to feel that, oh, look, what am I going back home to do? But trust me, when you go back there, you get some renewed energy to keep on keeping on. You get some renewed focus. you know that there are people out there who love you for who you are, not just because maybe you hold a certain position in government or out of government, or you are a member of the government communication team, but they just love you for the person you are. You've been with them, they grew up with you. And so sometimes you need that love to remind yourself that our love must not be tied to these worldly affairs. It must simply be tied to the fact that we're all human beings. And there's no better place for you to get that except from family and friends, especially friends you grew up with.
Yeah.
And for me, it was an eye-opener. And emboldened my decision to always make it a point to go back home to engage my folks, especially when it comes to these festive occasions. And it was fulfilling, trust me. More, it was fulfilling. And when I went to the Eid prayers, for example, our imams were full of praise for many of our senior comrades and even leading members of the New Patriotic Party. And so for those of us who are young, it was a call to action, an inspiration to do better. Yeah. And so these reminders, it keeps you going and tells you that so much is expected from you as far as your society is concerned. So you cannot afford to give up when the fight is not yet over, especially when there's the expectation that you need to take over from senior people in society. So, Moro, it was a joyous occasion.
Yeah. Do you think we need a second holiday for Eid al-Adha?
Yes, I do. I believe so.
Why?
I believe so because, you see, the reality is that it's not a day's event. If you look at the Islamic calendar and teachings, you know that even after Eid, there's a need for you to engage with family, try to visit people that are sick, that you've not had an opportunity of visiting. Okay. Take advantage of that to support people in society. And you know that the actual day of the Eid is a celebration.
Yeah.
You understand? You go for the prayers and you get back home to spend some time with family before you realize the day is over. So you simply do not get the second day required to be able to visit sick people as Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam preached, and visit the elderly and also support the needy in society apart from what you cook on the Salah day. So there's the need for us to have an additional holiday. I've always maintained that there's the need for that, for us to have that additional holiday in order for us to at least take the full benefits out of that particular festive occasion.
Okay. Perhaps the advocacy has started here on Good Morning, guys.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We are pleading and appealing to the powers that be that a second holiday for Eid al-Adha wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yes.
Great, because you see, as you rightly said, when we slaughter the sheep, traditionally we would hang it. The next day before we do the distribution of the meat. You know, so a second holiday, of course, the other arguments you made, the other reasons you've given are also very valid, where we want to spend some time with the family and so on. You know, I mean, over the weekend, on Saturday, I was with, I don't know whether you know her, Haja Fati Adamu. She's the daughter of Alhaji Adamu of Global College.
Yeah.
Yes, and I was there with her, with the former Central Bank Governor, Dr. Nash. And one of the conversations that, you know, came up was about organizing picnics, you know, and that we tend to, so basically we're not celebrating
Eid the way it should.
The way it should, you know, so it's like we just slaughter the animals, we distribute, we cook, we eat, and then it looks like that's it. Of course, with Eid al-Fitr, because of Salah Fest, in the Zango communities like Nima and as parts of Asawa.
And this is supposed to be the biggest Eid, right?
This is actually supposed to be the biggest Eid. And so he was asking for us to have a rethink about how we celebrate Eid. And he was actually advocating that, look, at some point, we would have to, not even at some point, but sooner rather than later, we must have a situation where we organize big events. Especially, he is particular, Dr. Nash is particular about the picnic thing. And I thought it was a good idea because the families will come together and get to know each other. You know, kids get to meet, network, and so on and so forth. And I thought it was a good idea.
I think that it is something
we can do better.
Yes, I think that it is something we can all take up and see how. Because I know that in United Kingdom, things like that, we have it. So mostly in the morning after the prayers, later in the evening, we have a Salah Fest of a sort, where we all bring our kids together. The Muslim community, we get to engage, especially those of us from Ghana.
Right.
We invite our Christian brothers and sisters. They join the occasion, and it's always beautiful because your kids get to know each other, they interact, and they get excited. So I think that we can pursue that angle also in this country. It is possible.
Okay.
But since they are our seniors, I think that they should lead the discussion, and I'm glad that he has started.
Yeah.
And there are so many people that they can call on to put such an event together.
Support it.
Exactly. So
That's
I think
a good
that,
idea.
I think that
honestly,
beyond the discussions, I think that they should put in action and ensure that
no,
we
in fact,
take advantage
Dr.
of
Nash is taking this up personally.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Then that's beautiful.
He's very passionate about
That's
it.
beautiful.
Anyway, so there's quite a number of issues for us to look at, Hamza. We're actually waiting for Kofi Tonto, who is a political aide to the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. He's not here yet. I'm sure that he sent a message that he'll be here shortly and that he is, I think there's traffic, more traffic, so he'll be here shortly. So we're waiting for Kofi Tonto. But, Hamza, there's a latest development with the case of the former finance minister, that's Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta. And we all do know that the OSP has placed him on, of course, the OSP has described him as a fugitive from justice, and he's on the Interpol's red list, and basically we're on a manhunt for him. And the OSP has said he will not give up till it grabs Ken Ofori-Atta, bring him to Ghana, and do whatever it is that they want to do with him. But Ken Ofori-Atta himself, as we do know, is receiving medical treatment abroad at Mayo Hospital in America. But the latest twist is that his family have waded into this whole matter. And there's a three-page statement which the family has issued. And if you look at today's Daily Post has actually captured it. Now it says, Ofori-Atta's family petitions Interpol to remove red notice. Now, the story says that Ken Ofori-Atta's family has accused the Office of the Special Prosecutor of abusing its authority in what it describes as a premeditated vendetta against the former finance minister. The family said in a statement issued on Monday, June 9, that the OSP's actions violated due process, constitutional rights, and international law, and that they also denounced the Interpol red notice on the grounds that the red notice was obtained using falsified evidence. And omitted medical information they have formally petitioned the Commission for the Control of Interpol's Files, CCF, and the National Central Bureau to have it immediately deleted. Now, the family claims that the arrest warrant for Ofori-Atta, which was issued on February 11, 2025, which was issued on the grounds of using public office for private profit, was obtained in unusual circumstances and lacked an affidavit to substantiate it. They contend that no official accusations have been brought against Ofori-Atta in spite of the warrant. Additionally, they asserted that the OSP's designation of Ofori-Atta as a fugitive from justice was initially announced during a media briefing. They assert that this action lacked legal support and is currently being considered by the Human Rights Court, which is scheduled to render a decision on June 18. Now, according to the family, Ofori-Atta has been receiving treatment at the Mayo Clinic in the United States for cancer that was discovered earlier this year after COVID-19 problems. He had requested a video recorded interview rather than an in-person presence due to physical limitations, and he was slated for surgery on June 13, 2025. Rather than respecting the medical record shared and permitting a virtual engagement as permitted under law, the OSP chose to portray a man scheduled for surgery as a fugitive, the family said. According to the statement, the OSP staged what they dubbed a public lynching to degrade Ofori-Atta purposely, hiding medical evidence and rejecting offers of remote cooperation. The family said that on June 30, a fresh lawsuit was filed contesting the validity of the arrest warrant and the actions of the OSP. They also want to know if the OSP told Interpol about the cancer diagnosis, ongoing legal cases, or medical records before that red notice was requested. Now, had these been disclosed, the Interpol filing would have violated Articles 2 and 3 of its constitution, which protect the right to health and prohibit political abuse, the family argued. The family summed up their worries by accusing the OSP of using its mission as a political spectacle, pointing to a long number of procedural errors that included evidence suppression, administrative justice, and human rights breaches. Mr. Ofori-Atta has never fled from accountability. He stood firm before charge Parliament and ECOWAS court inquiries and was cleared each time. The statement noted, this is not justice, this is vengeance. They expressed their confidence that Ofori-Atta will be indicated and confirmed that he will return to Ghana to face any legal investigations after his treatment and recuperation are over. We are confident that Mr. Ofori-Atta's rights will be restored, and when these investigations are completed, he will be acquitted in full view of our entire nation, and justice will find the Hamans. Ken Ofori-Atta has been officially listed on Interpol's Red Notice database following a renewed request by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. The move comes amidst ongoing corruption investigations and intensifies efforts to bring the former minister to justice. So this is the latest twist to the ongoing saga regarding Ken Ofori-Atta. What do you make of this? Hamza.
Moro.
You're not speaking for the OSP, are you?
I am not.
Okay.
I am not.
You're just expressing your opinion?
Yes.
Okay.
And you see, Moro, these guys are funny.
Why?
First of all, I think that the obsession by the Nanado family, and if you like, by extension, Ken,
okay,
of their unethical conduct in government into opposition is quite worrying. You see, the first time we witnessed an organized family taking for granted not just the economy of this country, but our laws, and to a very large extent, their own political party, was when Nanado became president in the last 8 years. We all saw what that family subjected the economy of this country to. Indeed, remember, to a point that even leading members of the New Patriotic Party in Parliament massed up to oppose the continuous stay of Ken Ofori-Atta as minister responsible for finance under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because they had taken everything for themselves as a family. It took this nation and some members of the New Patriotic Party to stand up against the Ajepadie initiative by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Ken Ofori-Atta. More, I guess you remember. So for me, it is not surprising that for the first time when it comes to issues of accountability in opposition, we are suddenly beginning to hear the important role of family once again. Have you ever had this encounter, Moro, where state appointees have been asked to come and account for their stewardship in office? And suddenly, we are having family members issuing press statements against such an invitation by lawful state institutions of our republic. Have you ever experienced something like that? So that tells you the low that these guys took our country to. And that strange feeling that they are the most important when it comes to the architecture of our country. And that is worrying for me. You see, I read not long ago in the news that the Honorable Matthew Opoku Prempeh has appeared before NIB on countless occasions as former Minister of Education and that of Energy, and not too long ago, the running mate to His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Many of us didn't know that he was actually appearing before the NIB until he himself chose to make it public. There are so many members of the New Patriotic Party who were part of the last regime who are appearing before state institutions to answer questions regarding their stewardship. Indeed, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo had cause to indicate that none of his appointees should run out of the country. They must stay in the country to face accountability. Because he knew that many of them undoubtedly would have questions to answer. Strangely, the one every Ghanaian expects That one man who took this country for granted in the last 8 years, who collapsed our banking institutions, made people paupers as a result of his policies. He rendered many of our compatriots unemployed under the guise of restructuring our banking sector. Led this country to borrow in an unprecedented fashion for 8 good years. And in this borrowing, many of his interests, or if you like, one cardinal pillar of the borrowing spree had to do with data bank, where, of course, his interest in data bank is not hidden. This gentleman decided to take charge of our finance ministry with data bank appointees for 8 good years, sidelined, revered civil servants who served this country for ages. This is the same gentleman who presided over the SML transaction, remember? Indeed, there is no rot under the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo regime that you can make reference to without an involvement of Ken Ofori-Atta. The first had to do with the PDS scandal. At the back of that, this country lost in excess of $2 billion that we could have taken advantage of to put our energy sector on the right track. This is Ken Ofori-Atta. So to many people out there, especially many of our citizens out there, when the NDC was promising Moro probity and accountability, and assuring the good people of this country that appointees of the last regime would be held accountable, many of them knew that there would be no justice without Ken Ofori-Atta facing investigative bodies of this country and our law courts subsequently. Because trust me, truly, you would not be successful in any attempt to ensure accountability and to let the Ghanaian people appreciate that we meant our words when we were in opposition if the likes of Ken Ofori-Atta are made to run away. So he knew that to a very large extent, the Ghanaian people were looking for him because he destroyed lives. His policies killed people. His policies collapsed businesses. His policies led us to a point that Ghana was locked out of the capital markets. But at the back of that, his companies were becoming more successful. Indeed, one of his insurance companies grew to such an extent that it entered Nigeria and became a competitor in the Nigerian insurance industry. In less than 1 year, capital that Nigerian insurance firms were struggling to raise, his insurance company, in entering the market, did so in about 3 months.
But what's wrong with that?
And you think that somebody like that, but all that happened largely because of his role as finance minister, and how he strategically decided to privilege his personal and business interests over and beyond that of the national objective and interest. So these are many areas that we can look at. And so for me, it is within the remit of the special prosecutor to want to find out. And like I've indicated, many of his colleagues are facing our investigative bodies. But this gentleman, when he was living in February, knew that he was not going to come back to the country because he knows the havoc he has caused this country. So let us stop the pretense about Mayo Clinic and all the drama associated with it. Moro, you don't need an angel to descend from heavens to tell you that it is a ruse to avoid accountability.
How do you know?
It is a ruse, but the evidence are clear. This is a gentleman, listen,
a doctor who
when he fell sick as finance minister, we all saw the pictures. Every reasonable person with what we saw online and what we were told should have, at that material moment, resigned from the Minister of Finance. Did he resign to go and treat himself?
So the letter was issued by Mayo Clinic indicating that he was unwell and that he was to undergo some surgical
Moro,
operation.
even you can get such a letter from the United Kingdom.
You're suggesting it's fake?
I'm not saying that it is fake. It can be. But I'm not saying that
you're
it's fake.
suggesting it's not evidence enough?
Of course. Is he in a state that he cannot travel into this country? Absolutely not. In any case, these are the same people who presided over the incarceration of Dr. William Tevy. Do you know the state of Dr. William Tevy? The former NCA boss. At the time, he was facing our investigative bodies and subsequently the law courts. Moreover, he was even at an end-stage renal. He was even at an end-stage renal treatment.
Yeah.
But he was being taken through the wheels of accountability. The NPP government did not find anything wrong with that. The likes of, what is his name, the late Animana, Chief Director of the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
Was he not well? Was he not unwell? When they were dragging him to court on a daily basis, and he used to appear not less than 8 hours. Indeed, at a point, he was more or less, God forgive my language, but he became a vegetable. But these guys did not spare him. They took him through our processes for not less than 4 or 5 years. The same with William Tevy. So what has changed? William Tevy was also undergoing biopsy. The same with that of Animana. What has changed? But they stood as men and faced the laws of our country. So you should know that this is a ruse. This is being acted. Ken knows that there won't be satisfaction in this country if he is not called to account. And he knows the rot that he supervised and presided over. And so you can understand the gymnastics about being sick and that OSP should engage him via camera. You cannot. Maybe someone should remind the gentleman that his cousin is no longer the president of the Republic of Ghana. And he is not the finance minister of our republic. And the NPP is not in power. Okay. So he cannot dictate to our investigative bodies as to how to engage him in their quest to seek answers to many of the questions that they feel that he needs to answer.
All right.
So, Moro, we should not be entertaining such flimsy excuses. How many minutes is it going to take if indeed you are clear? And you want to demonstrate to the good people of this country that you have nothing to hide? How many minutes will it take for you to jump into business class and come to this country and engage the OSP even for 2-3 days and fly back? How many minutes is it going to take? Many of his compatriots do same. They are undergoing treatments abroad, but they still find time to come and engage the OSP. And in cases that they even need permission to travel, they put in the permission and they travel.
All right.
Our own Kojotu Mbuafu had his own challenges.
You mean health challenges?
Yes, but he faced the processes. And at any point in time that he needed to travel, he applied and was granted the permission, in limited instances though, to go out, because at a point he was denied. So what has changed? And anytime he went, he came back.
All right.
So let us see that commitment on the part of Ken Ofori-Atta. But as for the fact that, Mayo Clinic has said this and that, you know, as a matter of fact, that the guy is using it as a ruse to avoid accountability. Even I can stay in the UK today and be able to go through my medical records and find doctors to give you an excuse why I cannot come to Ghana the next 1 month or two. It is not a difficult thing to do.
All right, so let me read this. Mayo Clinic, 200 First Street SW, Rochester, Minnesota, 55905 507-284-2511, mayoclinic.org. Mr. Kenneth N. Ofori-Atta, Ken, 38 in Dabenenji, Sithole, that's Road, Laboni, Accra, Ghana, May 14, 2025. Kenneth Nanayao Ofori-Atta, MC, #129888026, DOB 11/7/1950. That's 1950. to whom it may concern. Dear Sir, Madam, I'm writing to inform you that Mr. Foriata has undergone an MR-guided biopsy and has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. A surgical intervention has been deemed necessary. After the testing and the MRI and biopsy procedures in March 2025, as I indicated in my February letter, this surgical procedure has been scheduled for June 13 with Dr. Parag Shah of the Department of Urology, and it says, see attached letter. It is hoped that a closer date may open up. Following the procedure, Mr. Foriata will require a recovery period before he is able to travel to his home country. Please feel free to contact me if you require any additional information or have further questions. Best regards, Ahmed Abdulrahim, MD, FACP, FSVM, Section of International Medicine in Rochester, GM, Mayo Clinic, Rochester, MN. And it says ENCIS, 1 Dr. Parag Shah report and 2 surgical pathology reports. Signed Mayo Clinic, authentic document. Fifth, that's 5, I believe it's 5/5/25. Yes, and the name is right there. Well, it was actually 15th May 2025. So joining us to speak on behalf of the MPP is political lead to the former Vice President and the former flag bearer of the NPP, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia. The man is here, Mr. Kofi Tonto. At some point, he was also the head of information and public affairs of Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. Good morning, sir. Long time. Kofi, how are you? Where have you been hiding? You know, you have abandoned your brother, but I
had to.
Okay.
A very good morning to you. I had to take a trip to the U.S.
Okay.
To go and see family. So I was there for about 3 months, the longest I've been in quite some time. So I found it necessary to, after the election, go back. So I just came back, I think, a month ago. Yeah.
How's the family? Everybody doing well?
Well, you know, so we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, God is keeping you.
Yeah, God is keeping us.
Yeah. But good to see you. The whole of this year, I don't think you've been here.
No. I haven't been. It's been long since I came here.
Andy said I should tell you she misses you.
I haven't seen Annie
in a while.
No, actually, maybe I think last week or so. Yeah, but where is she? Where is Annie? I didn't see her this morning.
You know how she operates. Smooth operator. Hiding somewhere.
Yeah.
And deliver it. Anyway, so Kofi, good to see you. Good to see you. And you're still the aide, eh? You're still an aide to...
Yes, certainly.
Political aide to the former flag bearer and also former vice president. But how is he doing? How's Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Dr. Bawumia is fine. Okay. You know, over the weekend, we were in Kumasi for the 30th year of the Silver Stool occupants who unfortunately passed, I think about a month ago.
Yeah.
Sibiro Sebonsu of Mampong. So His Excellency on Sunday went to Kumasi to pay his last respect to him. And so I was with him throughout, and we returned in the morning yesterday. And we are back to work. So he's in great spirits, and we just have a lot ahead of us that we have to take care of. Yeah.
Do some of you who worked with him before the elections feel that because things didn't go according to plan, you must also take some responsibility for what has happened and say, perhaps decide that, look, boss, I came here to help you win, you didn't win, and I feel like I've not done my job, so let me just take a back seat. If you need me to work with you again, that's fine, but I don't feel comfortable working with you because we've not been able to achieve our objective, or you think it's unnecessary?
Oh, no. I mean, all his team members are behind him and solidly behind him. I, for one, have been...
So he's maintained the entire... Because I've seen Dennis Miracles, who's not an aide, who's also one of the aides.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So
how many aides does...
I mean, you know, see, first of all, regardless of your role, you are an aide to him. You know, you could be the finance person, you could be a spokesperson, you could be a political aide. So for me, for example, Gideon is the spokesperson, but I support Gideon when it comes to speaking for him. But Gideon is the main spokesperson for BOSS. But occasionally I will also speak. I also undertake political activities to support him. Miracle speaks for him. He also assists him. Agba speaks for him, also assists him. Krobia is in charge of our social media. We have so many people, Anthony Cabo, all these people, we are all essentially his staff and assistants and aides.
So the entire assistants are intact?
Nobody
has been sacked, nobody has left?
Oh, no. I mean, of course, he can't keep the entire regiment.
Yeah.
But
it's expensive.
Because you have to understand that there is the governance role that he played. And now he's a politician, not in government.
Right.
So there are some roles, or there were some roles that were political or governance role. Those is not about him sacking anybody. It's by virtue of his tenure coming to an end, those roles coming to an end, for example. But then he has his political trajectory also. So we are all with him. He's doing well. He's in great spirits. For me, even the day after the election, one would have expected that, you know, he would be completely down, but he wasn't. You know, he came down from the stairs, you know, had a speech written, asked us to call President Mahama for him. He spoke to him, addressed the nation. And from that day, it's been one event after the other, one travel after the other, one visit after the other. So he's in great spirits, and we are still moving. Yeah.
So the likes of Mr. Fredo Wari, the likes of Fredo Kopari and Son,
they're all there.
Buche,
we were with
former minority leader.
We were with
all of them are there. All of them.
We were actually with Opari and Son in Kumasi when we went to Mampong. Uncle Fred is there. Osechi Mensa Bonso. I was actually with him in Kumasi, not to the funeral, but he was with him. So he has a solid team behind him.
But someone say the campaign is over.
Oh, campaign is over. This is not campaign.
Okay.
But my point is, he has a team or a group of people and a group of Ghanaians who believe in him.
Right.
Right. So it's not a matter of campaign. It's a matter of believing in the capabilities and the competence and the trajectory of an individual, and holding steadfast behind him. That's all. You know. So it's not about, you know, it's not even about gaining something out of it necessarily. It's more about believing that this person has what it takes. He has something in him, and we need to make sure we support him to unleash that talent for the greater purpose. Yeah.
Now, there's a more substantive discussion, conversation we're having before you joined us. I'll pick your thoughts on that as well. It has to do with Kenneth Ofori-Atta, but let me just do this quickly. You know, must have been a month or two ago where Justin Frimpong Kodia, who is your General Secretary, issued a statement and asked persons who are interested in leading the party going forward to desist from making statements that would sort of, you know, basically paint the party in a bad way, would make it look like washing the party's dirty linen in public, or put the party's image in disrepute, and rather focus on building the party, because without a party, no candidate can make any meaningful progress in the next elections. But it appears that some potential aspirants have either not paid heed to what the General Secretary has said, and they are on their own frolic, or they either they have heard it or not heard it, but whatever it is, all kinds of comments are being made. And in fact, at the beginning of this program, we played a video of Kenneth Japan, where he was making all kinds of comments about anybody who has lost elections by 2 million votes should not even dream of contesting an election, because this is the worst the party has ever recorded by way of a defeat and so on and so forth. I mean, it's what's happening? Is it that the party leadership is not able to call people to order? Is there leadership paralysis in the party? How do you get persons who are making comments like this to pipe down and to realize the times, which is there's a new government. It appears the government is enjoying some goodwill. The focus should be how to build the party, the MPP, so that whoever emerges in the party's internal contest will then get the backing of everybody. Help us understand what's happening. What's going on?
On the party front,
yes,
I'll leave the party issues to the party leadership to handle it. I wouldn't want to come on a big platform and make commentary about the leadership style or leadership decisions of my party.
Right.
I have my personal views. Those are personal views. And I think at the appropriate forum, I will share those personal views. So I wouldn't want to put Kodria or Chairman and team or anyone on board and sort of dissect their decision making vis-a-vis their pushback or however they deem appropriate to manage the party. I think that's a conversation we can have off air. But as far as other aspirants, look, my boss is determined and focused on one thing. How do we unify this party, right? And that is what he's going to stick to. Of course, no one is going to bully him, and no one is going to say things and get away with it. Certainly not. I mean, the times where, people will say certain things, make certain comments, he will definitely make his case. He will.
He will?
He will make his case, and he has a case to make. The party has a history, and will definitely interrogate the history. It is not up to Kofi to come and distort or put out my interpretation of the history. The history is there, and there are nuances to every history, right? And so at the right time, we'll make a claim, and we'll make it forcefully. But as it stands, my boss is focused on unity. And so I will not engage in any discussion that will go contrary to the position of my boss. But let it be known that my boss is not a pushover. Nobody can push him over. He will make his case and make it very forcefully. But the time will come. For now, what we will do as a party is continue to focus on bringing the entire party together, making sure our utterances are those that bring people together and not divide us. So I will respectfully, as a young person, urge all persons who are aspiring to lead this party to do same. Because after all, once you win the leadership race and you become the leader of the party or the flag bearer of the party, you need all of us to work with. You need all of us to work with. And so don't make your job harder for yourself. Because if you spite someone, it will be very difficult going back to the same person to ask for their support. And that is why we have made a concerted effort to ensure that we don't go out and spite people. Of course, there are people who love Dr. Bawumia, who make their own commentary, and you can't tell everybody or coerce everyone on what to say and how to say things. But for those who speak for him, those who are his assistants, his aides, we will be very measured in our utterances to ensure that we protect the unity and cohesion that we need in this party. But let it be said again that my boss is not a pushover. Nobody can bully him. Nobody can push him over. When the time comes, he'll make his case, and he will make his case very forcefully.
Yeah. It's my final comment. The Vice President is focused on fostering peace within the party. But do you get a sense that others want same?
That is their choice.
Especially when it would take two to tango.
You see, that's their choice. I cannot determine for others what they have to do with their time, with their energies, with their resources, and more importantly, the way they think.
My first thing is, if this is what he wants to make peace with others, but the others don't want to make peace with him, how can he achieve that objective if the others don't seem to be interested?
It's not about making peace with individuals.
Unity. That's the point I'm making.
It's not about making peace with individuals. Or you can't make peace with everybody in this world.
Right.
It's not about individuals. It's about the collective, the party. He needs to behave in a way and manner that brings everybody together. Of course, there are people, irrespective of what you do, they will not be satisfied.
Okay.
But the majority, and that's why we practice democracy. Look, Hamza and his party are in power now. I don't agree with it, right? But as long as President Mahama does what he needs to do as a president in a democratic manner, we'll have a peaceful and unified nation. And we go on. They have their 4 years. When the time comes, we'll go back to the ballot and take a decision. But as long as they operate within the remit of the law, we have a unified front and a unified nation, and we move on. Look, I will never sit anywhere for once and wish evil for this nation just because President Mahama is president. Doesn't mean I support President Mahama. I don't support him, and I will never support him. So we don't necessarily need every individual to like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia must operate within the laws and do so respectfully with peace and unity in mind.
Okay.
Once he does that, that's all. How other people behave, the delegates and the party people will judge. And they will decide the right person who can bring all of us together.
Based on the language you've heard so far from some of the potential aspirants or some of the aspirants, do you have concerns? Do you fear
Of
that
course
things,
I have concerns. I have great concerns.
things could degenerate going
I have
forward?
grave concerns. No two ways about it. I have grave concerns. But as I've said, I don't even make commentary on Facebook, for example.
Yeah.
I don't say anything about anyone because I believe there are appropriate places to address these issues. I have grave concerns. Look, I have friends on the other side. Some I've called and I've queried. You know, I've called and I've queried. I said, look, what is going on? You know, so, and I feel when you have concerns, you go to them, you talk to them, and then, you know, you settle it. But of course, I have grave concerns. Yeah.
All right, so as I did indicate, no, I'll give you. I know you want to have a bite,
So,
but,
you know.
but before you joined us, we were having a conversation about Ken.
It's not his matter.
Yeah, it's not his matter. He has to chop his whole matter.
Yeah,
Anyway, so we're talking about Ken and Ken's family writing to Interpol to remove the red notice on Ken. Don't worry. When I come to you, you can have a bite. You can have a bite.
What bite do you want to have? You have
can have a
bread
bite
here.
before.
Bite your bread.
That's why you should be biting, eh? Anyway, so I'm sure you follow that story. I don't know what your take on it is. I mean, they believe that Ken has not been treated fairly. The office of the special prosecutor is manipulating the evidence and to suit their narrative and so on and so forth. And how come this office of the special prosecutor is not mindful of the condition that Ken finds himself in? And so they are appealing to Interpol to delete the red notice that it has put in its database. What do you make of this?
Well, my brother, Hamza is a very interesting person. You know, he pretends that he cares for Ghana, that he cares for, you know, how we manage our meager resources. But in this whole analysis, did you hear him talking about Sedinam Tamaklo? Did you?
No, he hasn't talked about it.
Who's been prosecuted, not just accused. A judge has actually pronounced her guilty. But interestingly, Hamza was not minded to discuss it. But he was more interested in someone who's been accused. You know, If Ken Ofori-Atta has done anything wrong against the state, he must pay for it. Just like any and every citizen. We must all be held accountable for our actions, especially if those actions are ones that may affect us financially, that may be criminal. Because, of course, the fact that I'm sitting here speaking for the NPP does not make me better than the other or the Ghanaian on the street. So if I commit an offense and that offense is criminal, I must be prosecuted. But with the law. I mean, we have a constitution, we have acts, we have laws, we have precedents, and we must follow them. What does the law say? For me, they are, their recent mantra is that let the law be law or something like that.
The law is the law.
The law is the law. That's
Yeah.
their NDC's recent mantra. But is the law not the law for Ken Ofori-Atta?
Well, they took that inspiration from the suspended Chief Justice.
That's fine. But the point is the law not the law for Ken Ofori-Atta?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want to hold brief for Ken Ofori-Atta if he's done anything wrong.
Right.
But the law is the law. The special prosecutor claims that he has case or cases against Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, I'm sure you know about Miranda rights.
Yes.
When,
it is read to you when you are arrested.
It's read to you. Yeah. What is the spirit behind it? It says you have the right to what? Remain silent. That's the spirit of it. That even when you are accused, you have a right to remain silent. The point is...
Because whatever you say may be used against you.
Yes, but aside that...
In the court of law.
Aside that, the point is, if you are accused, you don't need to prosecute yourself. You don't need to offer evidence to the state prosecutor, in this case, the OSP, to prosecute you. The state prosecutor must have his own evidence. So if you bring Ken Ofori-Atta to Ghana, for example, Ken Ofori-Atta has a right not to utter a word. Okay? He has a right not to say a word. So it behooves on the OSP to have tight-lipped evidence, bring it to court, and prosecute him. Again, what's the spirit behind all of this? It's because you cannot compel someone to speak. You cannot compel someone to give you evidence. My thinking is that it's been almost, a year now? Or how many months? 6 months?
Yeah, about 6 months.
I am expecting that the OSP by now has his evidence, watertight evidence against Ken Ofori-Atta on all the 5 cases, the SML case, the National Cathedral case, there's a contract, another one, I think 5 cases.
There's 5 of them, yes.
In all. So once you have your evidence, the right thing to do is to go to court. It's not like Ken Ofori-Atta has not stated or shown publicly that he has legal representatives. He does. So go to court. When you go to court, his lawyers will be there. The judge will ask of their client, and they will have the opportunity to explain to the judge that, my lord, our client is incapacitated, our client is not well. Then the judge will determine whether or not he wants the client there. The judge may very well say that, okay, let's proceed. Why? Didn't we try Ferdinand Tamaklo in absentia? Didn't we? That's why I mentioned precedents. So, if you believe Ken Ofori-Atta has done something, and if you have the evidence, why do you need Ken Ofori-Atta to talk to you before you prosecute him? That's the question we haven't asked the OSP. He needs to tell us. Why do you need Ken Ofori-Atta to speak to you?
Okay, so let me read this to you.
Yeah.
And it's from Sami Daku,
Okay.
Office of the Special Prosecutor.
Sure.
He said, why does he want to evade pre-trial processes with law enforcement? You know, he's the head of strategy and, I believe, communications, right? He says, why does he want to evade pre-trial processes with law enforcement? If he wants to be tried in absentia, he should wait after law enforcement is done with their investigations, and all pre-trial processes from arrest to searches to taking mugshot, fingerprints, and bail conditions are processed for court. Then he can indicate that he wants to be tried in absentia. After all, my reading of the law now is that there is no precedent of a person who has been tried in absentia in Ghana and the world over without first being physically present in court for his plea to be taken and his charges read to him and bail conditions met. If after that you don't want to be present, you can elect to tell the court or you can run away. But until that is done, you can't be tried in absentia. You won't be tried in absentia.
He is saying that he doesn't know of any case where someone has been tried in absentia without going through the pre-trial process.
Yes.
Does that mean the law is against it?
That's an interesting question.
He should tell us. You see, it's not about
what is ideal or not.
What is ideal or not. What I was expecting Samit Darko to say is to cite specific laws, either the Constitution or the Criminal Code or whatever, that says, by our laws, if you don't go through pre-trial, it's against this law. I'm not a lawyer. But it's not enough to tell me that we don't have instances where people didn't go through pre-trial. What has that got to do with anything? My brother here is a lawyer. And he will tell you, no case is the same. Right? I mean, Hamza, let's put politics aside. Even when you think it is the exact same case, even if you follow through the procedure, you get to court and there will be a few things that will be different from the case compared to the other case. So no case is the same. So
you didn't know
that about
Sedinam issue when you were making that comparison?
What comparison?
With that of Ken.
You didn't know that no case is the same?
No, I am talking about
absentia. Level of
I am talking about your inertia, your deliberate
so
inertia.
So that's the question I'm asking you.
Not to talk about it.
I'll respond to it, but I just want you to flow. So you flow.
And because you brought his point is, he didn't talk about Sedinam because according to him, it's not the two are not the same.
Yeah,
that's the point.
The two cases may not be the same. I wasn't talking about the cases. I said she has been. The judge has actually pronounced on her
guilt on her. And
so she is supposed to, what was the final verdict? But the point that I'm making...
She was pronounced guilty.
Exactly.
Basically,
she's pronounced guilty. So hers, we have finality to the case. So if she has to give anything back to the state, there's finality. But that didn't interest you. That was all the point that I was making.
Okay.
Not necessarily that the case are the same. No. I'm just saying that there is a final verdict on her. But interestingly, you said nothing. Not necessarily. The case can't be the same. The substance of the case can't even be the same.
What was your basis for even comparing the two in the first place?
Why
did you bring up
the basis for comparing it, and again, I was not necessarily comparing, let me put it right.
Okay.
I was not comparing Sedinam to Ken. I was only saying that he came here, made pronouncements about Ken, and I preempted my comment that he cares about the meager resources.
Okay.
That's the premise of my argument, that you care about the meager resources, but you don't care enough about the person who's been pronounced guilty.
Okay.
That was the point I was making. I wasn't comparing the two cases. That's all. And I can't compare the two cases because the substances are not even the same.
Right.
So coming back to my point, look, the OSP has done more press conferences than winning cases. And you see the danger in doing press conferences versus focusing on the process of actually going through the court process to get your final ruling is that you set people up. You destroy people in the public arena. Take the Dwaben chairman, for example. He did a press conference, destroyed him, only to get to court. And what happened? Discharged and acquitted.
You mean the MCE?
No. There's a chairman in Dwaben.
Right.
Discharged and acquitted. And you did a press conference, did all manner of things. So I think a special prosecutor should stay away from the show of bravado. Okay? Yes, I know he goes around with, military people. The other time I saw him in Kumasi. And when I saw him, I thought there was war in Kumasi. Because you see, his convoy and the soldiers surrounding his car. I'm like, what is going on?
You have said it time and again that his life is in danger.
Life cannot be in danger more than the president.
Oh, really?
I mean, of course, the president is the number one gentleman.
Remember our electoral commissioner?
Charlotte Osei. Yeah. She also had quite a number of military retinue.
Who? What are you?
He was asking about Charlotte Osei. And what's the name? Jean Mensa.
I haven't seen her in town.
You've not seen her for the last 8 years that you appointed.
I haven't seen her in town. Why? Must I see everybody in town?
That politics of convenience.
Please,
no, I haven't seen her in town. But what is the point?
Hamza, she's Ghana's electoral commission.
What's the point?
Yes, Kofi,
the point is that the president is the number one gentleman.
Yes.
And the state apparatus literally brings out every and anything, including jamming signals, just to protect the president. Is that not so?
Absolutely.
So if I say you can't compare any individual to the president, what is my error?
I get it.
It is a fact. We even jam network to protect the president.
Don't belabor the points. I think let's make progress.
So the point that I'm making is this.
Yes. You're talking about the security around
him.
Isi Ejabeng.
Now, when you go to his office, the whole building is dedicated to the special prosecutor. And the argument is that nobody needs to be in that building for security reasons. Not Yoko, not national security, not NIB. Can they share that resource, the facility? Because they work together anyways.
Yes.
But he's taking the entire architecture to himself. What is the value we have gained from all of this? And I've heard the argument, you set it up. So why are you complaining now? The point is, the fact that we've set something up does not mean we cannot raise questions about that particular thing. Every institution was set up by one government or the other. Is that not so?
Right.
But we criticize it because that's part of democracy. You criticize it to shape it up, to make it better. So the fact that we are criticizing the OSP doesn't mean that it was not a good decision to set it up.
Right.
We criticize the police, we criticize Yoko, we criticize NIB, National Security, EC, every state institution, we criticize it. Whether Nanado created it, President Kufuor created it, President Mahama created it, we criticize them. So my point is this. Look, OSP, focus on winning cases. Do the work. Gather your evidence. Go to court and prosecute people who are doing harm against the state. That much I want you to succeed. But for me, it should be less of show of bravado and more of getting the work done.
Hamza raised an issue before you came here.
Okay.
His point was simple, that why is Ken and his family, to all intents and purposes, including the president, the former president himself, why are they treating Ken as a special Ghanaian when we all do know that we have had,
Ken as a special Ghanaian?
Based on the letter that the family has issued, which is raising procedural issues with how Ken has been, the Ken case has been handled. Hamza's issue was that why is Ken being treated as a special Ghanaian?
Who is treating Ken as a special Ghanaian?
And that if it's about his health, first of all, he doubts that Ken has any prostate cancer. Yes, he says he doubts it because so far we've only seen a letter from Mayo. I read it before whilst you're seated. He doesn't think it's sufficient evidence to to convince anybody that Ken has a prostate problems that he's dealing with. Secondly, we've seen in this country where people have been very sick, where there's more than sufficient enough evidence that they have a medical condition. And he, for instance, names Animana, who's a former chief director at the, what's the name of the ministry? Health Ministry, you know, and Tevi and so on. All of them were dragged before, you know, the investigative authorities, and they were dealt with, and they were jailed. Why is Ken running away from accountability in the name of he not being well? What is it? What makes Ken so special that every day is about his health and so on? Why is he running away from accountability? What do you make of this?
Who is treating Ken special?
So first of all, his family and some members of the MPP who are defending Ken and the fact that he's not well.
Moral. If anything happens to you, God forbid, do you not expect your family to treat you special?
Absolutely, they should. Absolutely.
If anything happens to Hamza, if in 4 years after they've left office, and Hamza sitting
You saw his reaction when you said after he left office.
has been accused of corruption. Are you saying that his family must not stand behind him? Okay, so you can clarify.
I was emphatic. Okay. I said that maybe you want clarity, I'll provide clarity. I gave basis of the unethical conduct of Nana Addo and his family in government. Their obsession with stealing our meager resources to a point that even your own members of parliament called for the head of Ken Ofori-Atta. And I said that it is strange that even in opposition, the family is beginning to rear its head again under the guise of defending the gentleman. And I proceeded to caution that as a country, we should be careful not to give an indication that when it comes to our laws, certain individuals are special. And I proceeded to give examples of people, even in terrible and far worse health circumstances, who appeared before our investigative bodies, appeared before our law courts on the basis of our law. And that Ken should not be treated as an exception, as somebody special. If the likes of William Tevi and Dr. Animana in their state appeared before our investigative bodies and our law courts, then there is no justification for us to treat Ken specially. And I proceeded to conclude that it is on the basis of that that I find his demand that the investigations be done via online unacceptable. And if for anything at all, I express my doubts about his health condition and how that incapacitates him from traveling to the country to face our investigative bodies. And for me, I said it was a ruse.
Okay.
And I still maintain
that
the so-called health excuse is a ruse intended for the #1 fugitive in our country since 1992. Fugitive to at least be brought to face the full rigor.
All right, so he summarized everything he said in the last... so I'll take a short break. I'm told.
What he said versus what you said, nothing new.
Okay, all right.
So then clearly you were
all right. So we'll take a short break. We'll take a short break. No, don't worry. When we come back, we'll come back. We'll come back to you. Don't worry. We'll come back to you.
Of course, I have to respond to whatever it is.
Hamza, so we're taking a short break, I'm told, and then we'll be right back.
Car Center in Ghana, offering unparalleled round-the-clock service in autos and accessories. Nadam Autofix is the biggest distributors of used tires in Ghana, offering first-grade second-hand car tires of all rim sizes at both wholesale and retail prices. We are also the leading name in car sensor diagnostics, corrections and sales of car accessories. We excel in car washing and detailing with state-of-the-art steam engine washing machines that keep water away from your engine, ensuring a clean, healthy and responsive engine. Nadom Autofix, the first name in servicing, car accessories and car washing. Visit us today and experience the world of class difference. Find us today at Asoridaho, directly opposite Dansoman KFC and the Shell filling station. For more details, you can call us on 0503 244 266 or 0535 339823. Nado Motofix, Wukwain Sunyonko Papa.
Wabedum Tamasu. Hey, J. Watch it, na learning. Missy, watch and learn. Makwaya Mabesisia. A bozig. I can say no ya konati and the more drink woman. Hey, but I didn't mean. Oh, sorry. She knew her old days. Eji, Dabio, baby womb. Ready? Hey, baby womb. Ah, Eji, I'll cause some discomfort. Ah. Sorry, well, uncle, where would I die? Why your funeral? At to phone for Aerofield Trading. Sorry, it killed them all.
No mum share Nanda Daya was mosquito call is to do woman. Na say spray with them musa. Try sima a dronum and sana ko dynamo.
And Kratoi FDA Ajatum.
Smart, smooth, interactive, and a built-in Android active panel. Made for modern work and home. For corporate clients and university students, enjoy top quality 10th generation Toshiba laptops built for performance, power, clarity, and speed, all in one desktop. At Mycom JA Computers, get a laptop for as low as 1,000 Ghana cedis. All products are imported from the USA with a 1-year warranty. Visit Mycom JA Computers today and elevate your tech.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
Where to get polytank? Oh, and you're fine. Go straight. Oh, I want to left, right. That's right. Ghana na ye wono. So when you do more, any data. Oh no! Abe, na here. Me pe polytank ato. Enu tin ta menu aba otu pe bia be na ba hayu. O food pe bia e de enjoy ye kura. Akuya bulambo kotoman. Emu ha. Like they take you by so. Go to the distributor and you give the original polytank. Polytank. You hear the sound?
Polytank. Papananka Sankasa.
Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi, Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Buy affordable service plots and lands from Estate Masters. Currently selling our next cottage, located at the newly proposed Airport City, with a starting price of 25,000 Ghana cedis. We also have Palm Hills, located at Panfukuro in the Bomwa East District, also with a starting price of 15,000 Ghana cedis. Available also is Coastal Park in Lakpleku, which is a 15-minute drive from the Ningo Senior High School, having a starting price of 55,000 Ghana cedis. You will receive a free site plan with indenture once you successfully purchase a land from us. For any enquiries, contact the numbers provided. Estate Masters, your most preferred estate partner.
So you're live on Good Morning Ghana on Metro Television. I'm here with Kofi Tonto. Kofi Tonto is political aide to the former vice president and also former flag bearer of the presidential candidate of the MPP. Also, Hamza Suwini is here. He's a private legal practitioner and also a member of the NDC's communication. So we're talking about Ken Ofori-Atta. The family has waded in. The family is not happy with the special prosecutor or the office of the special prosecutor. And also, they have raised a number of issues that border on procedure and the process which the Office of the Special Prosecutor has adopted. They think that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has not been fair, he's not been candid to the facts, and he has treated Ken as though Ken is a non-entity. And that's my interpretation of understanding of what the family is saying. But I just received a message from Mr. Kwame Sapon Asidu, who is, I found out just last week. Apparently, he's a doctor too, as in PhD, but he doesn't talk about it for some reason. He doesn't parrot it. He doesn't trumpet it. I don't know why, but he tells me that it's all out of modesty. But anyway, so he's with the CDD. He just sent this message. He says that the letter is signed by the family of Ken Ofori-Atta. And he says, who constitutes the family? Is it the nuclear or extended family? Do they have a spokesperson? Anyway, where were they when Ken disrespected picketing pensioners? And then he says, we joke in this country. And he continues to say, this is more of an anonymous letter. Unless a spokesperson is identified, I hope the petition to Interpol is signed by identifiable people. And I think it's a very interesting point he's making. I haven't seen any.
There's no name. I've seen the statement.
You see the statement.
What is interesting about what Kwame is saying?
There's no signature.
Let me tell. There's no.
Who signed it?
Yeah. There's no signature. What does it say?
That's his family.
It says his family. Yes.
Are you saying that?
So in case you want to authenticate the veracity of the claims, who do you speak to?
It means you would have to speak to you have to speak to someone.
Someone authored this. Who authored this?
It doesn't have to.
For all you know, it could be.
It doesn't have to be an individual. The family can sign collectively. It happens all the time.
But there must be a reference point.
You can say maybe they should add a contact or something.
That is the point we are making.
No. Hold on. I am yet to see.
Moro, can I respond to
the exact format of the letter?
What
I am responding to is that there is nothing wrong for a family to collectively issue a statement.
And I get that.
Yes,
but what makes this authentic?
Saying. That's fine.
This is how it is.
No, I'm not disputing that.
Okay.
Let's disaggregate the issue.
Okay.
If you are talking about authenticity of the letter, that's a separate conversation.
Yes.
But to say that a family and block cannot sign something, it's another conversation. That's what it said.
That's not what he has said.
What did Kwame say? What did Kwame say?
So this is what he said.
The
letter, and let me read it again. Yeah. The letter is signed by the family of Ken Ofori-Atta. Who constitutes the family? Okay. Is it the nuclear or extended family? Do they have a spokesperson? Anyway, where were they when Ken? So
where is it stated that the family cannot sign the letter? He has not suggested.
No, he's not suggested.
No. I think that you owe him an apology.
He's just asking questions, that's all.
You were wrong.
I'm wrong about what?
But you said that he indicated that the family cannot sign such a letter. You have read his letter.
Yes.
No, he has not suggested.
No, okay.
So you owe him an apology. I think that is an
let me talk.
No, it is my turn actually. You intruded.
Oh, apparently that is
yes.
turn.
So allow
will I get the time to talk?
Yeah, sure. So no, don't worry. When I get your turn, you can respond to it. Yes.
You see, first of all, my condolences to my brother, because I'm told that not long ago he's lost his sister.
Yeah, that's true.
So we all would pray for you.
Heartfelt.
Yes, and hope that your family is well received, your sister is well received in the high heavens. Undoubtedly, this will be a difficult moment for you and the family. So we can only wish you well at this stage, and hope that you take it in your stride and understand that some of these things happen. So I admire your energy at least, because even in the midst of that news, you are putting in your all for party. That speaks volumes of your commitment to your political party and that of course, your leader, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. So it's enviable, and I commend you for that. But you see, Moro, now to the substantive issues. First of all, we all know, especially those of us who are found within the political cycle, we all owe a responsibility in our quest to build a resilient democracy that is actually truly responsive to the needs of the Ghanaian people. And that responsibility is not only entrusted upon us when we occupy political positions in government. It is even required of us more when we are out of government in our individual capacities. Because that is how you develop the country. That is how you contribute meaningfully to democratic growth. So from where I sit, I can be forgiven to conclude that anybody who takes up a leadership position in government in a way has also indicated by commitment or by action his desire to contribute meaningfully to our democratic dispensation. That is why it will behove on us to ensure that even in our outside government, in our actions, we behave in ways geared towards entrenching our democratic principles. It is on the basis of that I consider quite worrying the posture of Ken Ofori-Atta and the attempted defense being placed out today by Kofi. Because apart from the legal injunctions or obligations, there are also democratic obligations on us.
Right.
So you may not have a legal provision that requires Ken Ofori-Atta to support our investigative processes. But you may have a democratic injunction as a player, an important player for that matter, of our democracy, to be interested in subjecting himself to our democratic processes of accountability. So it is a dual responsibility. There's a legal obligation and there's a democratic obligation on political appointees and access.
But he wants to satisfy that democratic obligation
I'm coming.
by availing himself digitally and virtually.
No. You see, you do not change our modus operandi.
Okay.
And that's why I made the point that maybe he has forgotten that he's not now in the business of issuing directive as finance minister, or he should also be reminded that his cousin president is no more the president. So they don't have the power to dictate to the good people of this country how our institutions should work. So that point needs to be made clearly. This is not a gentleman committed to our democratic principles, and that is condemnable. And I expect the likes of Kofi to condemn such acts, because it waters down the effect of this democratic journey that we have placed on ourselves as a people. And it exposes us to serious threats, especially those of us who are political actors, when it comes to the good people out there. Because if they get the sense that political actors are now beginning to find novel ways of absconding from accountability, be rest assured that our democracy will be in danger. And that is why I expected him to have taken Ken on for failing to make himself available by dancing around all kinds of excuses. Now, he said that the gentleman can be prosecuted in absentia. The office of the special prosecutor has not in any way suggested that Ken will be prosecuted. He said that he's going to gap an investigation, or he's conducting investigations into certain transactions. It is likely that at the end of those investigations, he might go scot-free. But one thing you have failed to appreciate, that they have access to information as Office of Special Prosecutor, and they also have the power to subpoena. And under our laws, if you are subpoenaed, if you are subpoenaed by any state institution, can you say no? You simply cannot say no. Unless, of course, you decide to use lawful means. That is for evidence. I'm coming. Can you allow you? Okay. Yes, you can subpoena. If they believe, if the Office of the Special Prosecutor believes that there are certain vital documents in his possession. Yeah. Yes, these are what that is. Come on. Even his person, go and read the act. His person, he can be subpoenaed to support the investigations. Are you not aware that even sometimes in giving testimony, some individuals can be brought before the courts against their will? So if you decide to appear before the special prosecutor and you decide not to utter a word, that is left unto you. But when it comes to the appearance, they have the legal basis to demand your appearance, and they have done so. Again, they are mandated, they have the discretion to exercise whether to put you on the Interpol red alert notice or not. Now they have exercised that discretion based on evidence available to them, because clearly the Office of the Special Prosecutor is not convinced that your decision not to come in is hinged on any health grounds. The Office of Special Prosecutor thinks, like many other Ghanaians out there, that this is just a ruse to avoid accountability. How many minutes, like I indicated, is it going to take for you to fly from the United States of America in a matter of 24 hours, engage a special prosecutor, seek for permission to go back? People see him in US. They see him.
You believe that?
Yes. People see him. So what kind of democracy are we building? And you made reference to Sedinam. And you proceeded attempting to hang that on the neck of the National Democratic Congress. My brother, the NDC was not in power when Sedinam was incarcerated. It was Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo who was president, in charge of the security apparatus of this country. The National Democratic Congress was not in power. The said woman appeared before the court processes. She was first investigated, she respected our state institutions, and appeared before same. That eventually led to your ability to build a docket on the case and your subsequent prosecution of same. And her eventual, verdict, where she was found guilty. So it is not true that Sedinam was tried in absentia. You can say that her verdict was given in absentia. It's not the same thing in law. But she was there throughout to a point where the verdict was to be given. That was when she left and never came back. And you had every state machinery within your control then to be able to look for her. You couldn't. So how do you expect a government that is less than 6 months in power to be able to bring her? It is not as if the government has stopped looking for her. We have not. If you couldn't find her, those of you who were actually vested in securing her, we had issues with the manner in which she was tried, and we made those issues known. We were convinced that your Attorney General and the President were engaged in influencing our judiciary to hand down certain judgments. And indeed, the Atuforsen matter brought that to light, where the so-called Attorney General was caught on camera, on audio, attempting to coach a defense witness simply intended to secure a conviction against the Honorable Ato Forson. So that conduct emboldened our suspicion that indeed you failed to take the likes of Sedinam through appropriate and acceptable legal procedures. You were engaged in influencing decisions when it came to matters of this nature. So we made it clear. Our position was not hidden. But because we respect the rule of law, irrespective of our position, irrespective of what we feel, she was convicted. You failed to secure her presence. The government of John Dramani Mahama has not interfered in any of our security agencies' efforts to secure her. And I can assure you that if she is secured, she'll be brought in to serve her sentence. Okay. And the opportunity for appeal will be open to her. All right. But you see, give Sedinam some respect, because at least she demonstrated commitment to our democratic principles. She stood, she was investigated, she appeared before our investigative bodies. You have a finance minister who presided over the public purse of this country, running away from investigations, and you want to compare the two of them? Okay. What are you talking about? Moro, you see, finally, please do this quickly so that we can in this country, my brother, you see, you must understand that when you have state institutions, apart from their legal obligations, we are running a democracy. There's the need for them to keep the people updated on a daily basis as to investigations that are ongoing or events happening within their sector. It is one democratic principle that you must not take for granted. And so when I listen to you say, oh, these days you are in the habit of accusing people of talking too much, it appears that you only want to be the one speaking. When Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was jumping from university to university, doing lectures, and even in government, jumping everywhere, your boss, you didn't find that as speaking too much. Now you have state institutions living up to the mandate of their establishing acts, keeping the people posted about events that are happening, and you want them to keep quiet and deny the people access to information. Okay. The MPP's agenda to produce a mute government so that they can have a field day to run their propaganda and deceive the good people of this country, like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo led them to do in 2016, will not succeed this time round. Okay. Every meaningful state institution engaged in the business of leading this country must open up, must be transparent, and must let the people understand. All right. And if it is to be achieved through speaking, they must not shy away from speaking, because the likes of Kofi wants them to remain mute so that they can have a field day to proceed with their propaganda. Okay, this John Dramani Mahama administration will never entertain that invitation. Right, so
Sani Saliu, who is a regular viewer of the show, has sent a message, and he says that at least the writer should have written his or her full name first and then add on behalf of the family to bring more clarity, and also add more color to the letter. And it says blanket phrase like that as the subscription only raises eyebrows. Good morning. That's coming from Sani Saliu. And then this one here from Mansa Musa, who is also a regular viewer of the show from the United Kingdom. He's a journalist himself, and he says that who writes a letter to Interpol with no signature? The disrespect to Ghanaians is too much. This so-called family member's letter to Interpol must be ignored and discarded with no endorsement or signage. It could have come from anywhere. Good morning. That's coming from Mansa Musa, who sent that message. Quite a number of you. So Musa from Asawase, Musa Abat of Asawase says, good morning, Moro. Kofi Tonto is clearly being economical with the truth. How does any serious entity accept a medical excuse without a proper evaluation and certification from a doctor? It's obvious Ken Furata is grasping at straws to evade accountability. This is the same man who owns 90, whose own 90 MPP MPs called for his dismissal, largely due to incompetence and health concerns. Yet he was shielded. Now he's conveniently using questionable health excuses to avoid facing the very accountability he's long overdue for. That's Musa Abatwa from Asawase. And okay. All right. Apparently, Kwame Sampo says you know him. He says you know each other. Okay.
That's why Hamza, Kwame and I there, we have our matter. So you,
Hamza, have some long-standing matter.
Kwame and I have our matter. So when I'm firing Kwame,
you guys chase the same girl or what?
When I'm firing Kwame knows why I'm firing him. But you take the matter.
There's a backstory.
Look, Kwame there, Kwame.
Okay.
We have our matter.
You have your own.
Kwame will come at me. I also come at him.
Okay.
When we finish, we'll talk on phone. So Kwame there,
it's not personal.
It's not personal. You know,
right.
so he knows.
So let's do this quickly so we can move to.
You know, he's kept so long on this. You know what issue we are going to discuss next.
Okay, which one? You want the one?
We will discuss the levy next. He wants to keep it so long.
But I'm more than ready to engage.
You know, see, Moro.
Yeah, please go ahead, bro.
See, Hamza is a hypocrite. And when you listen to him, it's just, it's mind-boggling. He says this in one breath, says that in another breath. Hamza, have you been kept posted by the special prosecutor when he lost the Jabin case? Has he done a press conference on it? You said the special prosecutor... You are making
accusations grounded in facts.
I'm talking, please. You said the special prosecutor, his job is to update Ghanaians.
I said it includes.
It includes updating Ghanaians. Fair enough.
Because you people are fond of that.
Fair enough.
I'm fond of quoting
people. Have you
been
wrongly. Updated when he lost the case? Have you? Do you know that there is actually a court case on this fugitive matter? Do you know that?
Fugitive from justice, yes.
Yes. Do you know Ken Ofori-Attah's lawyers took it to court?
Yes.
And the judge is supposed to pronounce on it on the 18th.
Yes.
8 days from today.
Yes.
Not this matter. The first Interpol notice. Don't confuse the matters.
No, please.
This is not under challenge. Don't confuse it. Don't say on this matter. You are lying.
What matter are we discussing? That he's a fugitive.
The Interpol red notices are two.
Yeah, two, yes.
Ken Ofori-Attah is in court challenging the first one that was withdrawn based on letters that they exchanged.
Yes.
And the OSP decided to withdraw. So the case has become
before the law courts. Creating confusion.
No, you are trying to lie, and I just want to stop you from lying.
No, his point is that this latest one is not.
No. This latest one is in furtherance of what the OSP is saying. He didn't act on. That we pronounced you a fugitive. You said you come on so and so date. You didn't come on that so and so date, so we repronounced you fugitive.
Bro, that is not accurate.
That is what the special prosecutor said. Why?
We reached an agreement with you. You demanded that we should withdraw the red notice because you come on this date, and I withdrew it. So that first one is what is before the courts. The second one is not before the courts. That's what you need to understand.
Me talk?
No, but
you are the one talking about first one and second one. I am talking about the fact that he was pronounced fugitive. His lawyers went to court. Okay? And you are saying that he didn't live up to his promises.
So the family said, so here's the thing, Hamza. Legal action and human rights challenge. And I want to read this verbatim so it doesn't come my opinion.
Okay.
The family said that on June 3, a fresh lawsuit was filed contesting the validity of the arrest warrant and the actions of the OSP. They also want to know if the OSP told Interpol about the cancer diagnosis, ongoing legal cases, or medical records before that red notice was requested. Had these been disclosed, the Interpol filing would have violated Articles 2 and 3 of this Constitution, which protect the right to health and prohibit political abuse. So that's just to validate what he said.
No, he's talking about a different thing. This is not validating it. No.
He's talking about...
When did he tell you that they would...
Hamza, can I talk?
His family himself has raised.
Can I talk?
You see, that is the mistake you are making. He was in court before that.
Yeah, we know that.
Now this second one, entirely different case altogether.
But I thought both had to do with challenging
his status as being a fugitive.
One is challenging. This is an arrest warrant you just read. It's not the red Interpol notice.
I don't like the way you are treating me. Please.
Okay, proceed.
Let's make progress.
It remains a fact that the case in court has to do with his status as a fugitive. Which case will be pronounced on the 18th. My point is that the court will decide whether or not the OSP has a case.
Why not wait till the 18th?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to enter him as a fugitive or whatever,
okay,
you can wait.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea to separate two issues is a non-starter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a deliberate ploy to create confusion in the minds of people.
Mm-hmm.
Because that second fugitive status premised on an initial status. Is that not the case?
Mm-hmm.
It's a build-up on it. So what is this attempt to create separate issues? It's a build-up on it. Because the court could have easily pronounced that, look, Mr. OSP, you don't need to call him a fugitive. The court can say that. Is that not so?
Mm-hmm.
So what if the court on the 18th says that you don't have to call Ken Ofori-Atta a fugitive? What happens to the re-entry of a fugitive status? That is the point. So don't obfuscate issues here.
I can respond to you.
So
I can respond to you if you actually need a response.
I don't need a response.
Okay.
I think the listeners understand what I'm saying. That a furtherance of a case that not...
You think the decision of that case can perpetually injunct the OSP from declaring him a fugitive even in the future? What kind of analysis is this?
The OSP has gone to court.
Depends
on
on
a
facts
few
available to
instances. Let me give you one instance. When the OSP froze the accounts of Madam Cecilia Dapa,
yes,
and went to court, what did the court tell the OSP? Before he came to sing Ankwanoma, he turned into a musician. What did the OSP, the court told him? The court tell him? That he doesn't have the powers to do that. Have you forgotten? So please, stop creating the impression that the court cannot tell OSP.
I have not said that.
You are saying that...
No, you see, Kofi, like at least, I have not said that. You placed a similar lie on Kwame Asiedu, so don't attempt to...
What lie did I place on
Because
Kwame
you said
Asiedu?
that he indicated that the family didn't have to sign the letter.
I'll
they don't
come
have the
there.
right
I'll
to
come there, please.
So don't... I have not in any way
Oh.
suggested that the court doesn't have the power to interfere with the work of the OSP.
Okay, what did you say about perpetuity?
Yeah.
I said that
please go ahead.
the fact that there's an injunction, there's a case.
Yes.
If today the court decides that based on the earliest red notice that was issued, the OSP was wrong, it does not mean that it perpetually injuncts the OSP from tomorrow declaring Ken a fugitive based on the facts or new facts available to the OSP.
That's also true.
Exactly, that's the point I'm making.
No, listen. The court,
It's not a perpetual
the
injunction.
court can equally say that even though it is in the act to declare people fugitive,
from
the
justice.
court can even say that it's not constitutional.
Are they challenging the constitutional law?
No,
Are they before the Supreme Court?
Please.
Challenging the
It
constitutional law of the
depends on why they're in court.
Oh, please.
So did you get it? What you're saying is possible, but that is if they want the court to do that.
Look,
if there are specific declarations
what did they go
want.
to court for?
No, look, the story is actually here.
They are simply saying that he's abusing his powers and
but
that
if you are
doing so is
abusing-
outside
if
the
you
law.
are abusing
So it's
your
not the
powers-
same thing as that. The
No,
law
please,
doesn't
please,
allow that.
If you are
That's not the
abusing
same
your
thing.
powers, it is tantamount to saying that your behavior is unconstitutional.
Or you don't have the right
Oh my
to do
God.
Or you don't have the right to do that. There are several interpretations that you can place.
Don't take it. Moro, don't be allowing him to confuse me with that simplicity.
I'm telling you.
You see, the law can actually allow you to do A, B, and C.
Yes.
But who has said
And
that?
you, in doing so, you can do it. You can abuse your powers in doing so.
Of course. That's
So
why
if
I
the
gave
court
you two
says that
reasons.
you have abused your
That's why
power,
I gave you
it's not
two
the same
reasons.
thing as saying that that law is unconstitutional.
No, I gave you two
Your
reasons.
acts can be declared unconstitutional, but the law is not unconstitutional.
Listen, I gave two reasons. I gave two
Your
reasons.
act can be seen as
Of
unconstitutional,
course.
but the law
And
itself
that's-
doesn't mean
no,
it doesn't mean
and
that the
that's
law is
why I said two
unconstitutional.
things.
I understand.
That's why I said two things. I said two things. That it can be this or that.
Yes.
I said those.
Yes.
Now, the point is, you said that Ken Ofori-Atta has been asked to come to help with the investigation process.
Yes.
And you even said that, again, you say that I'm misquoting you, that the fact that the issue is being investigated does not mean that the OSP will even prosecute Ken. You said that.
I said that.
You said that. Yet you have sat here. You and your party have pronounced him guilty.
Because I know, you see, again, you have quoted me wrongly. I have said that he needs to be brought to answer many of these concerns we raise. And I'm one of those who sincerely believe, and I won't hide it, even though I'm a member of the National Democratic Congress, Kofi, I am one of those, because first, I'm a citizen of this country, and I bleed for this country. And I'm one of those who believe that the gentleman has serious questions to answer. And I gave basis for that. I mentioned SML. You cannot deny me, a citizen of this republic, the opportunity to express my opinion on what I feel, especially when it comes to account. I have not declared him guilty.
Okay, so please, Kofi, go ahead.
Please, quote me well.
He said he's not said he's guilty, so please go ahead.
No.
You've not said
I'm
anything.
a lawyer, I wouldn't do that.
There's nothing you have said that you have said.
Because you are quoting me wrong, because you even quoted somebody wrong.
But
on this same platform with Sami Jemfi, you quoted President Mahama wrongly. You are fond of doing that. So that's why I'm keeping a check on you. When they increase fuel prices under them, remember this same chair, he sat in this same chair and said that President Mahama said that people could enter trotros. And when he was pushed to produce evidence, he couldn't. So I don't have to allow that to happen. So I know him. No, but I needed to make that, to give you the perspective as to why I'm correcting him.
Moro, now I get his drift. His drift is to create the impression in the minds of our viewers that I'm a liar. That is drift.
Unfortunately.
That is drift. But you see,
you don't quote him.
No, please, hold on. Me. I have been on this platform and many platforms.
Yes.
And viewers know who I am.
Right.
It is not up to you to call me a liar.
Calm down.
No, I'm making a point. So your attempt, and you see why he's citing Samija in this case, you have a deliberate strategy to paint me a certain way. And that's why you kept going back to Kwame Sarpong-Essiedu's case. Because he wants to achieve a certain thing.
So why
that
give me
Kofi
basis
is a
to
liar.
achieve that?
That's
Why give me basis to achieve that?
No,
Kofi, you're not a liar.
I'm not. And I want to prove it to him.
Just go ahead.
I want to prove it to him. And the viewers know.
Okay, you are not a liar.
The viewers know. So
you are not a liar. You are not a liar.
You may disagree on facts.
Exactly. So stop that your fake attempts. Now, if you want to discuss liars, on the second topic, I'll tell you who the liars are. Take your time. Oh, we have time.
We have spent all the time arguing about
Now,
anyway.
My point is, you talk about democratic injunction and legal obligation and this and that. My brother, you Moro sitting there, if you have a case in court, would you follow the legal processes to protect yourself? Or would you follow the whims of Hamza's so-called democratic descriptions? See why I called him a hypocrite? Because you see, Hamza sitting here, if he has a case in court, he will go through the legal processes to protect himself. That's what he would do. So what stops Ken Ofori-Atta to go through the legal processes that he deems appropriate to protect himself? Where lies the crime? Let me say it again. I'm not holding brief for Ken Ofori-Atta. I don't even know him personally.
Hey.
I don't know him personally.
You don't know Ken personally?
I don't know him personally. Aside from that, the fact that he's the finance minister.
Yeah.
I've met him once. I met him once in Washington.
And that's it?
Said hi, moved on. That's it. Otherwise, I think I've seen him twice or three times in person. So when some of us come and sit here, it's not because we have any interest or we have even relations with a person. But it's about principles. That if I have a legal case in court, I will go through the legal processes as the law allows me to protect myself. So where from this so-called moral turpitude about your democratic and the democratic injunction? Look, what is that? What is that? And then you talk about Sedinam Tamaklo and President Mahama is dead and he's that. Look, President Mahama came to power and the first thing he did was to take his friends who were in court. What did President Mahama do? He used the other day when I met you on another platform, you said the Attorney General used the law and filed a nolle prosequi
yes.
to do what was legally allowed to do. That's what you told me when I raised it. You said he had every right and he did it legally. Did you think about how we are building our democracy then? You, Hamza, did you think about how we are building our democracy then? The impression it will create in the minds of people that another government will come and also let off the hook his people because someone else has done it. Would that not affect our democracy? They didn't care about those things.
It's safe to say that with those decisions that they took,
yeah,
even in opposition, they had serious issues with those particular cases.
I don't have a problem.
And that's what I'm saying. They had always said
I'm not raising the issues that he had. I'm not raising issues with the legality of it.
Okay.
I am raising issues with his argument of the democratic impression
That's
it
the point
creates.
I'm making. I understand. That's the point I'm making. I'm saying that democratically, in opposition, the NDC exercised their right to express their opinion on what they felt about those cases and how they were being prosecuted. And they have said that those cases were not born out of, they were not prosecuted. I mean, the basis for prosecuting was not born out of the law. And then it was just a case of vendetta.
So let's take your argument. So let's take your argument.
Yeah.
We also take the same position today.
Yes.
And then we come into power.
And then
we let Ken Ofori-Atta off the hook. Would that be justified? Would that give us the democracy we are looking for?
Within your democratic rights. But how the public choose to react to it is another matter.
Exactly, and that's the point he was making. That, some of these things, there are legalities, but you need to think about democracy and how we are building our democracy.
The only point I'm trying to make is that whether MPP or NDC, if a party comes to government and thinks that some persons who have been prosecuted and have been found guilty, right?
Yeah.
And the party in government decides to file a nolle prosequi, or even the matter is before the court. Sorry, in fact, the matter is actually before the court, because once the person has been jailed, you can't file a nolle prosequi. The matter is before court. It's dragged on for more than 8 years. The party is well within their rights, whether MVP or NDC, to say, look, we're not interested. We've discontinued the case. It's fine.
Moro,
it's still democracy, isn't
no
it?
Problem.
It's still democracy.
Moro, you see, please.
So I think we should allow him to land. Please allow him to land. So that
Moro, I would like to talk about the levy. I would like to talk about the levy. I would like to.
No, but he can talk about it. But see,
First of all, Moro,
just 5 minutes.
on the levy.
So our time is up.
On the levy.
Otherwise, they'll take us off, and nobody will hear. Nobody will hear the two of you.
When Ato Forson went to
we spent a lot of time on this Ken matter.
When Ato Forson went to
respond.
When Ato Forson,
he has made personal references to me.
No,
but you see, Moro, this is important. Moro, you see, this is a serious platform.
Yes, it is.
And you see, first of all, there are so many people who are out there listening to us who are better informed than us, or hoping to learn from us. And so whatever we churn out there, especially when we seem to suggest that we are quoting each other, we must do so accurately.
Okay.
When I made reference to the legal and democratic injunctions, I did not stop there. Remember?
Yes.
I proceeded to give you reasons why the OSP could be clothed with power to use a subpoena and why these decisions are grounded in law. That is not to say that the demand to have Ken Ofori-Atta back to the country is simply based on a democratic invitation.
Yeah.
And I also made the point that even democratically, he must be seen contributing to it. So when I give you two strands of a perspective, it does not mean that I am found wanting or the OSP is found wanting on the legal leg of it. That's why I made references to his power to subpoena. So until you demonstrate around this table the illegality that the OSP is engaged in, as it stands now, he's clothed with the legal authority to bring him in.
Okay.
And he's doing just that. Secondly, he made references to my reference to a nolle prosequi on another platform. Again, you are forgiven because you are not a lawyer. On that show, I also explained to you that though the nolle prosequi is a legal injunction, that actually, if it is done, the Attorney General doesn't need to offer any explanation as to why he proceeded to do so.
What did I say?
But in our case, the learned Attorney General, after filing this nolle prosequi, proceeded to organize a press conference in fulfillment with our democratic ethos. At that stage, that was not the law. Right. To give reasons behind his filing of nolle prosequi. And so it is the kind of invitation I'm extending, that on the legal front, the OSP is justified. And if Ken Ofori-Atta is found wanting in that space, the democratic space, he must show commitment to it. Because we have shown same. So if you are making references to nolle prosequi, I say that the Attorney General filed nolle prosequi, he still upheld the democratic principle of proceeding to explain to the Ghanaian people why he had to do that. He was not injuncted under our law to do so.
Right.
So that is the difference between the two political parties.
Because if I go back,
we're actually done.
Now see, let me talk about
3
this.
minutes. They'll take us
let me
about
talk
3
about
minutes.
this.
So quote people are
When
quickly, my brother. I'm
forcing-
repeating that, please.
What?
Learn to quote
You
people
didn't
are
say
quickly.
anything contrary to what I said.
I did.
You only sought to explain that you offered additional
It is
basis.
a major
That's
weakness
all.
you have.
That's
and I'm
all you
advising
said.
you that learn
That's
to
all
quote
you
people
said.
correctly, please.
That's all you said.
Let me use the
I
next 2
quoted
minutes.
you correctly.
No, you didn't. You are in the business of deliberately misquoting people.
Yeah.
So Hamza, don't do that to your friend. He's your friend.
Yeah,
let me
he
read.
is.
Let me use the 2 minutes to read messages so that we can go because our time is up. So Mr. Kakre Samoa, who's the director of communications of the NDC, says, "Good morning. I was arrested by Yoko under the Akufo-Addo government. I was charged. I bailed myself and I walked away. I am so baffled by what is happening. What is Ken Ofori-Atta afraid of? Kofi Tonto is unnecessarily misleading the public. Ken's pending suit in the Human Rights Court does not operate to stop the OSP from doing his work. And then he wants to know where you went, where you attended law school. I'm saying you're not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. You have your own area of expertise, but so I've told him that you're not a lawyer, and so he said, okay, now he understands. Now McLean, I don't know whether he's your brother or is a friend, but he's Francis Appiah, lawyer Francis Appiah, who's the regional director for Legal Aid Commission of the Western North Region, is celebrating his birthday. Lawyer Francis Appiah, happy birthday. That's coming from McLean Desmond in Seshi. And he says, as we celebrate today, I pray that the God we serve continues to guide and guard you in every step of your life with wisdom, strength, and perseverance in all your endeavors. Happy birthday, lawyer. Keep shining and leading. That's coming from McLean Desmond to Lawyer Francis Appiah, Regional Director for the Legal Aid Commission of the Western North Region. And also Ebo Bachman, who is one of the strategists for Alan Kyerematen. He says, Kofi Tonto's claim that he doesn't know Ken Ofori-Atta is neither here nor there. He knows him very well. He knows very well that if Ken goes down, he takes the MPP down with him. Ken Ofori-Atta has caused more harm to his country than many can imagine, and he must be held accountable for his actions and made to answer serious questions about his stewardship. That's coming from Ebo Bachman. Now, Sam A. Kelly, who is sending us a message from East Legon Hill, says that he says, good morning, Moro. What exactly does the micro-minority want Ghanaians to believe? Do they want us to believe that paying a little more of an existing ESLA levy that will culminate into paying 12 per litre is worse than when we were paying 17 per litre under the Akufo-Addo government and Akufo-Addo Bawumia regime? In any case, can they tell Ghanaians what they use the loan they obtained from collateralizing the ESLA fund for? If you can praise your opponent for doing something good, you can at least zip up and allow him to solve the problem that you have created. And Prosper Ashikwe says that Moro Kenneth Yao Ofori-Atta is there. So Prosper Ashikwe is sending us a message from Asalam down. It says Kenneth Yao Ofori-Atta is the first person you'd see on the Interpol Red Notice list. I personally don't feel comfortable with the fact that he's a Ghanaian who is featured first. He should just spare himself and family this embarrassment and come home to face the law. Ghana is a country of rule of law and don't think anybody is going to chew him. If he's found culpable, then the law take his course by first retrieving any alleged embezzlement or anything of the sort. This gymnastics just muddies the waters some more, and the attempt by the communicators of the MPP to impugn malice is the condoning or condoning or supporting evil. That's God bless Ghana. Anyway, so this is where I will end the... No, our time is up. Our time is up. Our time is up. No, our time is up. I don't take us off. Our time is up. In fact, the producer just were going off. So I want to thank you very much, Kofi Tonto. He's a political aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and also he's a former head of information and public affairs at Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C. And also Hamza Suhini, he's a lawyer and also a member of the NDC's communication. My name is Audu Moro. Thanks for watching. Oh, okay. Today NDC Television.
Fifra ye free nyina ye de obedie ntia. De ya fugia ne aduane. Sansro pintin bi aseda me. Die yedi koye mu ne die wie nyina na makuafo modem mo so. Won fifire su ne nya bidio. Nanso bate aseman Ghana mu a. Ekuafo akoya abo pupu obo wasio na so da su kache. Wona sam fifire ma mu nyina nya bidie. Nanso mpuntudwo mu aka akiri pa. Ekwan ben ne befa so ama ekuafo fifire ho abanfa so de. Aban hyehye ne dwumadi ahodo ode bre ekuafo no bo wote ase. Feed Ghana ye den. Na nkokọ ketenkete so mfa so ma ekuafo so ye den. We nti ne ahyehye dwumadi esuru nkwa ya to ne ekuafo mo. Ye de bro original TV and Metro TV.